Welcome to the It's in Queens podcast, the only podcast dedicated to exploring everything that our dynamic borough has to offer. I'm your host, Jeff Simmons, and each week I get to share stories and meet people who help make this borough the vibrant, diverse community we all call home. This podcast is brought to you by the Queens Economic Development Corporation and the Queens Tourism Council, which work tirelessly to showcase our borough as a destination filled with amazing experiences and cultural gems, and opportunities for everyone who lives here, works here, or is visiting from near or far. The holidays are here. This means twinkling lights, brisk walks, and for me, plenty of time to cozy up with a good book. There's something magical about this time of year, whether you're starting a new novel or returning to a familiar favorite. I've always been a passionate reader. I keep lists of every book that I've read, and I switch between fiction and nonfiction depending on my mood, of course. Sometimes I want to be transported somewhere new. Other times I want to learn, to discover, to reflect, or just to be challenged. Growing up, libraries were my refuge. During summer breaks and holiday vacations, I'd spend hours between the shelves. They were a safe place, a place for exploration and inspiration, for discovery, and sometimes a little bit of solitude. And now, my neighborhood branch still feels like a second home. Every time I step in, it is wonderful in Jackson Heights to see the variety of things that people are doing. They're browsing the stacks. They're reading quietly. They're checking out the latest bestsellers. The library is also a real community space. It's where I vote, for instance. It's where community gathers together for events and where I've met friends, old and new. Now, recently, I got to meet the new manager of the Jackson Heights branch. Her name is Tina Hannaford, and her enthusiasm for connecting the community is contagious. I knew right away I wanted to invite her on the show to talk about this special place and all that it offers. So today I'm delighted to welcome Tina Hannaford, the manager of our Jackson Heights branch of the Queens Public Library System, as my guest. Tina Hannaford, welcome to the It's in Queens podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So let's start off by finding more about you and your career and what brought you to the Queens Public Library System.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tina, like mentioned before. And to start off, I work at the Queens Library, specifically the Jackson Heights branch at this moment. I've worked at a few different other branches before being here. I worked at Elmhurst, Central Library in Jamaica, Hunters Point, Broad Channel, and Corona. So a few different little branches here and there. And I started out by going to grad school to get my master's degree. I knew I wanted to work with books in some kind of fashion. And so I heard that Queens Library had an information and library science degree for grad school. So I applied there, went there, and that's kind of how I learned about Queens Library. The directors and librarians would come into some of my classes as guest speakers. And so I was interested in what they had to say about the library. I wasn't sure when I first started if I wanted to be which kind of library service I wanted to do. At first, I wanted to do medical librarianship and kind of work with doctors and help people that way. But then I learned more about public service, and it really spoke to me, like an ability to help people one-on-one kind of level. And that's how it started out. And that's how I got to Queens Library.
And you kind of touched on this already, but how meaningful is this work to you? What does it mean to you to lead the Jackson Heights branch?
Yeah, it's a privilege to be able to work and be the manager at the Queens Library Jackson Heights branch. It's one of the busiest branches in the system, and I'm still learning. I just started as the manager in July, so not that many months in. So, ups and downs, just learning. Luckily, the patrons have had patience with me, and so has my staff. It's an honor working in such a diverse branch. And I really actually couldn't do it without my staff that's with me. They make my job so easy because they're just so great to work with. They've been here a little longer than I have in this branch specifically. And they just are so good at their job and can really help people to the best of their ability and direct them to other departments and such. And it's an honor being able to work with them and work for the people of Jackson Heights specifically.
So I grew up reading constantly. And also this time of year, I can't wait for vacation because all I do is read books when I'm off. But I'm curious about yourself. Where did your love of books and libraries begin, and how do you keep that passion alive in your daily work?
Yeah, so it started for me in elementary school age. Um, we would have the teachers read to us like Franklin and Berenstain Bears and Clifford, and I totally dug those as a kid. And the space that they set up in the classroom, we were fortunate to have like bean bags here and there and like little reading nooks that you got to sign up, and it felt like a win when you got to go sit there and be the only one sitting there reading your books. And then as I got older, the chapter books really grabbed my attention, like the series of unfortunate events. Once I read those, like they came out when I was a little younger and I was hooked on them, and it kind of just played into there. And now I just continue to read. There are moments, it happens in everyone's life, where you pause a little bit in reading due to like work and life. Sometimes you don't always have the time to read. And that's how it was growing up, ups and downs. And now I'm just up. I just can't stop. I'm surrounded by books all the time. It's my favorite thing. I just get to read all the time when I'm off from work and have the best books around me that I get to select from. And I think what keeps the passion alive for me, honestly, is when I see other people around me really excited to see the books, and when they're looking for something and I'm able to hand it to them and they just are excited to read it. I'm like, let me know what you think about it. I want to know, share your love with me. And so I feel like that's really feeding off people too, kind of helps me keep the passion of books alive as well.
Now, for me, it was Encyclopedia Brown. I'm much older than you, so that's what I'm going back to.
That's a good one, though. So many options.
So, what makes the Jackson Heights branch so distinctive compared to other branches in Queens, and how it reflects the diversity of the neighborhood?
Yeah, we're really fortunate. What makes us distinct is really our patrons that walk through the door. I mean, Jackson Heights is fantastic. It's one of the most diverse neighborhoods in the world, with over 100 languages spoken. And I think that's really what makes Jackson Heights Library distinct, is that we try to serve everyone that we can, whether it's having books in multiple languages. We have about like 9 languages or so in our collection, which is great. Always wish we could have more. Always trying to get more and enhance that collection. But like having signs and flyers in multiple languages too, I feel like that makes us distinct, to make sure that everyone feels welcome and included and safe when they come through our doors at Jackson Heights.
So there's a lot of programs that go on. It's not just about books. There's so much more that your branch does. Tell us about an innovative program or two that you're running at the branch could be of interest to people in the neighborhood.
Yeah, so there's a few different programs that we have. One of them is a plant swap that we do about once a month, and it's where you say you have some clippings at home, some plants, and you want to switch them up. You come in with your clippings, and maybe another person comes in as well, and then you would exchange with them all different plants and clippings, so you could kind of grow your own home garden as well. And it really kind of plays into, because we have a seed library here as well, so you could always pick up some seeds too to grow, like from start, like from seed to bloom is what you can do here. And one of my general librarians, Mia, she runs that, and it's great. People's been responsive for it as well. And another one we're doing too is we've been doing a local author talks. So it started last year, and we've had a series of them. Like the second Tuesday of the month, we'll have a local author come in, and they'll promote their books. They'll talk about their book that they've written. And I feel like that's really interesting, because you're getting people from the neighborhood that are authors and that have written things, and they get to share their experience and their creative outlets.
How does your team come up with new ideas and programs to engage the different groups in the community?
Yeah, they're great at that. I think there's a few different ways that they do it. They attend webinars, which is where they learn about programming and collection maintenance and stuff like that. But they also go to conferences too to get ideas and learn from people, like American Library Association conference, the NILA conference, which is for New York libraries, and the Public Library conference. There's a few different things that they go to and learn as well. And I think those help. And I think listening too. They listen to what people want and what they need, and they kind of alter their programs to fit that. For example, my teen librarian noticed that the teens that come in are kind of techie and they like coding programs and stuff like that. So he's running an intro to HTML coding program. So I think just listening to what people want to really helps them create good programs for the branch.
And I've noticed you do programs throughout the year. I'm wondering if there's any upcoming programs or initiatives after Thanksgiving that you're particularly excited about that you would like our listeners to know about.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we do have a plant swap coming up in December. We also have a free immigration consultation day, which is nice, where they could come in and speak to lawyers for free. They do have to register online, but it's super simple, and they have a chance to talk to someone to help out. We also have some watercolor painting programs coming up in January, every January Fridays. Yeah, every Friday in January. Sorry, I said that backwards. So those are exciting, and we do. I'm looking forward to those, and I hope people show up to them.
And Tina, before I let you go, where can our listeners go if they want to learn more about the Jackson Heights branch and find out about the watercolor program, the plant swap, and everything else that's going on?
Yeah, so they could go to first the website at queenslibrary.org. That's where you can find our program information. You just look for Jackson Heights, and it says what our programs are going to be, and other branches if you live, close to Elmhurst or Corona. All those branches are up there as well. They could come in to visit us, stop by, ask us any questions that they might think of. We have calendars here with our programs listed on them, flyers that have like descriptions about them, the title, when they'll be. And we also have a bulletin board too with all our stuff that's posted on there, and things in the community that's posted on there as well. So you can find out a few different things at our branch if you stop by.
I want to thank you so much, Tina Hannaford, for being here on the It's in Queens podcast, and best of luck for a wonderful 2026.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
By the way, if you have not been to the Jackson Heights branch recently, you need to make an appointment. Well, not really an appointment. You need to just go by. There's so much to discover. Children's crafts and storytime sessions, workshops for adults from creative writing to job readiness, access to digital resources and public computers, community events, book clubs, spaces for meetings, and relaxing with a good read. Now, looking for something specific? Well, you can renew books online, print documents, even browse digital magazines all through the Queens Public Library website. So make sure to check out their events calendar for the latest programs and special events. And speaking of events, that's where Rob Mackay comes in. He's with the Queens Economic Development Corporation and the Queens Tourism Council. And each and every week he highlights some of the more exciting events that are happening in our borough. Here's this week's report.
Hey, Jeff, let me begin by saying that there are just so many markets. And when I say markets, I mean holiday markets selling everything from Native American jewelry to candles to soap and just about everything else you can imagine all throughout Queens. So I ask everybody to go to the It's in Queens website to check them out because there are just too many to list right now. And I also wanted to mention 3 pretty good shows that we've got. Number 1, the Soweto Gospel Choir is in town. They have won both a Grammy and an Emmy, and they will be performing at the Colden Auditorium in Queens College on December 6th. And then we have the Sunrise Theater Company presenting Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer also on December 6th, but at the Queensboro Performing Arts Center out in Bayside. It's a great show. And yes, Bumble the Abominable Snow Monster will be there. And then the final thing is 2 days of dance at Queens Theater, Parsons Dance, which is a really electrifying dance company. They will be here to do just basically the movement that just inspires, both December 6th and December 7th. Okay, we got a lot going on. It looks like we got a busy couple of weeks, but then it'll die down after Christmas. All right, thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Rob. Rob always brings us such amazing opportunities, from cultural festivals to hidden neighborhood gems. And that was just a sample of what's happening in our borough. The place to go to discover and explore everything that's on the horizon is at the It's in Queens website at itsinqueens.com. And if you're interested in more business-related news, then head right over to the Queens Economic Development Corporation's website at queensny.org. And when you visit that website or the It's in Queens website, well, take a moment, sign up for their newsletters. You'll get notified right in your inbox about opportunities you'll want to explore. And when you visit the Jackson Heights branch, or really any place in Queens, take a photo or two and share them with us. Make sure to use the hashtag #It'sInQueens when you post on Instagram or X, because your photo could be our photo of the week. This holiday season, I invite you to lose yourself in a good book. Discover something new at your local library branch. There's no better place to celebrate the weeks ahead with friends, family, and new stories. So stop by, explore, and let Queens inspire you. I'm your host, Jeff Simmons, and that's it for this week's It's in Queens podcast.